years.
Yeah.
So getting
51 years worth. I became a professional actor around 1969. And that's when I made my first movie. That's when I made my first movie. It was called To Dare the Devil in '69. And then many, many years later, I actually played a devil on television. A show called Reaper. It was on CW. So I made the full trip, you know, devil to devil.
We have some little spirits in the audio here. There we go. So you're from Akron, Ohio.
Akron, Ohio, yeah.
So what took you from, there we go.
Oh, no.
Ohio State's playing right now.
Yeah.
I don't know who's from Michigan, it's amazing. It's crazy.
We're not going to get into that.
So, from Akron, Ohio to Hollywood, how did that happen?
Well, you know, it was a long trek, but I went to Kent State University in Ohio, and I was a theater major, and then I left Kent and I went right to New York. I had a couple of $100 in my pocket in a suitcase and went to New York and got off a bus on 69th and Broadway and went to a cheap hotel and got a room. And I got a room for $43 a week. This is 1970. And I was in that room for about 2 weeks, and I went to an open audition at CBS on West 57th Street. And a couple of days later, I was hired to do a soap opera called Love of Life. And I did Love of Life for about 6, 7 years, and while I did that show, roughly around 950 half-hour episodes, I did off-Broadway and Broadway. I did Shakespeare on Broadway and Moliere and a lot of Eugene O'Neill off-Broadway. And so all the time I was doing the soap during the day, I would do theater at night. And you know, in those days, we didn't get a lot of sleep. You know, it's like you do theater and then you try to come down from the performance that night, and you wouldn't get to bed till about 2 or 2:30 in the morning. And about 7 or 8, I had to be back there for the TV cameras. But you know, in your early 20s, you can do that kind of thing. Can't do it now. But that was my training ground anyway, Love of Life. And it was a 3-camera show, and you know, I learned all about hitting my marks and being able to play the different angles of cameras and that sort of thing. So.
Awesome. And then
then I left New York to continue on my journey, right, in '78, and came out to California, and I was here for about a week and a half when I got cast in the Charlie's Angels episode, the original one, you know, the original series, and that's what got me started out in California, and since then I guest starred, I guess, on about 85 or 90 different nighttime shows, and I've been a regular on about 5 series, and part-time player on a bunch of other series. About 240 or 250 different productions. I've lost track. A lot of it I haven't. A lot of the movies that I made I've never seen. This is true. I've done like around 100 of them, and some of them I've never seen. I'd be very interested in seeing them. And every once in a while they'll show one at night, late at night on television, and I'll see myself the way I looked 40 years ago, and I think, oh my God, why did I do that? And wishing that I could go back and redo it. You know? You can't. It's on film forever, and now, of course, with the internet, everything is forever. You know, and so you got to watch your step now these days. You got to watch what you do, because there's always somebody recording you. You know, they have their phones out and they're taking a picture of you, so you don't want to do anything that doesn't look good in pictures. So. Okay, you don't need to know.
So how many fans of 80s horror movies are in the crowd? So Swamp Thing and Cat People. I know I remember you from
Yeah.
You know, that was
Yeah. Swamp Thing was great with Adrienne Barbeau and Louis Jourdain, you know, and we shot that in a swamp right outside of Charleston, South Carolina, the Magnolia Plantation. And it was about 95-degree temp with a 98% humidity, and black flies and alligators and water moccasins and all that stuff.
Any scary experiences with any of the?
Oh, many, yes.
If I see an alligator or anything,
alligators still bother me. In fact, when I was a kid, I had a pet alligator.
Okay.
This is in the 50s.
Did you just take one?
Do you have a moment? I have a story. In the 1950s, there was a trend of sending little baby alligators from Florida as pets to various parts of the United States. Yeah, and they would come in a little corrugated box with holes in it, and it was just a little tiny little baby alligator. And I had an Uncle Mike. Mike's have been a big part of my life. You know. Anyway, my Uncle Mike lived in Miami, and he sent me a baby alligator. And this is around 1957. I think I was, 10 years old.
Immobile.
That'll give you an idea of how I am today. Now see, I used to balk at giving my age, but now since it's all over. Yeah. It's all over.
You're an immortal vampire.
Yeah, and so I'm 72. I'm gonna be 73 my next birthday. Anyway, that's beside the point. The little, Oh, thank you. Thanks. So anyway, I got this little baby alligator in a cardboard box, and I opened it up, and the alligator scooted out of the box, went under the couch in the living room, and I didn't see him for like 3 days. Finally caught the alligator and confined him to the bathtub in the bathroom, and put a little water in there, and I had learned from my Uncle Mike. He sent a little piece of paper on the care and feeding of a baby alligator. And it was a raw hamburger. I had to feed them raw hamburger. And they in the back of their mouth, they have a palate that cuts off their mouth so when they're swimming through the water doesn't get in. So you have to push down that palate and put a little bit of the hamburger all the way down their throat. And so, early on, I got used to sticking my finger in an alligator's mouth. Rocky I called him Rocky. His given name was Rocco, but I called him Rocky. And I had Rocky for about 4.5 years, until he got to be around 3.5, almost 4 feet long. And I gave him to the Akron Zoo, where he enjoyed a long life. In fact, I don't know exactly when it ended, but he lived a long, long time, my Rocky. And anyway, the alligators in the Magnolia Plantation didn't bother me. The black flies did. And I remember doing a scene with Adrienne Barbeau, and during the scene, a black fly landed on my head and bit me. And immediately it started to swell and bite. And I still had to do more takes of that scene. So there was one of the wranglers on set says, I got a treatment for that. And he took this mixture of Vaseline and Adolph's meat tenderizer. I don't know if you remember Adolph's meat tenderizer, but it was a powdered thing that you'd sprinkle on your meat and then beat it with a club, and it would tenderize your meat. Well, to tenderize that bite, and when the swelling went down, they were able to cover up with makeup, and so that's when I learned about Adolph's meat tenderizer and Vaseline. But I'm off on a tangent.
No, you're good. No, that wasn't. This was during Swamp Thing, that's what we were talking
Oh yeah,
about.
Swamp Thing, yeah.
And before we move on, I have to ask you what it was like to work with the great Wes Craven.
Oh, Wes Craven was great. He was, at this point in time, he had just made Last House on the Left and that other...
Hills Have Eyes.
Hills Have Eyes, yes. And Swamp Thing was his third movie. And I remember when we flew together to Charleston on the aircraft, he met a stewardess that he later married. So, and that's another long story. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good that I didn't tip that over. Yeah, so going from that to was a film that I used to watch as a kid, The Journey of Natty Gann.
Oh,
which
anybody see that one? No.
Disney? Okay.
Yeah, it was a Disney film. Yeah, and made in 1984. I made it with an actress by the name of Meredith Salinger. She played my daughter in it. She was a 14-year-old daughter in the movie, and we're still very close today. And she just married a couple of years ago Patton Oswalt, the comedian. And so, yeah, that was and that again was a great experience. It was a good movie for Disney back in '85.
I have extreme fear of heights myself, and I think you do too. We talked about, but on Natty Gann, is it true you learned to...
Oh yeah, I learned how to be a lumberjack, yeah, for that one. I did, I was much svelter then. I was about 170 pounds, just wired from the top to bottom. And I learned how to high climb, the trees, and how to bucksaw them down and how to chop them down with a double blade Pacific axe. And at the end of that movie, after I'd had about 3 weeks of training before we started shooting, and then doing the movie, and boy, I was solid as a rock after that film for a long, long time. And now, and then life steps in, and you go to sea.
Was it scary? Did you have to go up high?
Yeah, I had to go up high, and also we bucksawed down a 200-year-old tree, and it killed me. It was a big tree. It was about 6 feet in diameter, but they made me do it.
There's that.
Yeah.
And then in 1987, the city of Detroit was protected by a robot. And you were in RoboCop, which was shot in Dallas.
Yeah, shot in Dallas for looking like Detroit.
Yeah. As Dallas does.
Well, actually, it was there were several streets in Dallas that were scheduled to be destroyed because they were like old sections of town, and these buildings were falling apart, so they were going to destroy that section. And so the RoboCop team went in there, and we destroyed it for them pretty well. For a couple of nights there, we blew a couple of streets up, and then I was just back in Dallas recently, just last year.
Yeah.
Those streets are still there. They never destroyed them, and they've been there for like 30 years. And what is Dallas up to? Anyway, we had fun blowing that street up, and then we moved from Dallas to Pittsburgh, outside of Pittsburgh, Menneson, Pennsylvania, where there was an old steel mill that had been shut down, one of the ones that had been shut down around the country. And it had the biggest blast furnace in the United States going travel, not in use anymore. Anyway, we shot there for days and days, and that's where we shot the fatal climax of my character. Anyway, I got blown up at the end of that movie. And they dressed up a dummy in my wardrobe, and then the long shot of it exploding. There's a dummy in there with my wardrobe. You don't actually see it. And they gave me the wardrobe from that dummy that got exploded, and I still have it. there's not very much wardrobe left. It's in tatters, but I have it wrapped in plastic and it's in my closet.
Wrapped in plastic. Which brings us to 1990, of course, and you get cast in Twin Peaks. Now, was that
1989, actually.
89, that's
yeah,
right.
89, I was cast in Twin Peaks, yeah. And I got a call saying, you know, Mr. David Lynch wants to see you for a movie that he's making called Northwest Passage. And it's going to be a pilot for a possible series. And I said, okay, so send me the script and I'll look at it. And so I read the script and I thought, well, what is he going to ask me to, you know, to audition for? And I thought to myself, Sheriff Truman. Yeah. I could be a good sheriff. So I went in to meet David, and we didn't talk about the script or the, you know, or anything about the project he was going to do. We talked about our first cars. I think his was a Volkswagen Bug, and mine, oddly enough, was a 1960 Alfa Romeo convertible that I bought in 1965 for $1,100 of my hard-earned money that I scratched together working for 4 months in a rubber factory, a tire factory in Akron, Ohio, Mohawk Tire and Rubber Company. I was a tire inspector for a short time, and I inspected over 8,000 tires that eventually ended up in Vietnam, you know, military tires. So I felt a great responsibility then at the age of 17, inspecting these tires. But I'm going off on a tangent. Where was I? Yeah. I'm in Akron at the rubber factory. What was that?
Twin Peaks. So David,
Yeah.
David and you were talking.
Yes, that
long forgotten show.
convertible lasted for about a year, and then everything started to go wrong on it. And this Italian car was full of British parts. I could never figure that one out. And very expensive parts. And I finally got rid of the car. But for about a year, it was a real chick magnet. I remember. And it really, you know, it really happens that if you have a nice convertible sports car, that you can attract lovely ladies. And it worked for a while. Where was I?
So when David...
David, yeah. So, that's all we talked about. We talked about a couple actors we knew in common that we were friends with and that he had worked with before. And that was it. That was the extent of the interview. And then about 2 days later, I got a call saying, you know, we think David wants you to play Leland Palmer. I thought, Leland Palmer, wait a minute. I had to go back to the script, open it up, and said, oh, yeah. Leland finds out his daughter is dead and he cries. Okay. And then he goes to the morgue to identify his daughter's body and he cries. Oh, and then, he's in his daughter's room with the police searching the room looking for her diary and he cries. I said, all this guy does is cry. And in that I saw the challenge. I had to do different degrees of crying, of mourning, you know, and make each one a little different so that the people wouldn't get tired of me having that crying sour face. And so that was the challenge of playing Leland. And then, you know, they started writing weird stuff for Leland to do. And we successfully did them. So they kept writing it, you know, and that's how, I threw myself on my daughter's casket, and I did the reindeer dance, you know, and my Fred Astaire moments when I dance in the lobby of the Great Northern Hotel.
Very fast rendition of Get Happy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and singing, of course, singing was a big part of Leland. He was a decent baritone. Probably had some idea that maybe he wanted to go on to musical theater on Broadway, but became a lawyer instead with only one client, Ben Horn. But every once in a while, he liked to drag out his voice and sing a song, and especially after my hair turned white. I remember that one. Yeah.
I think it sounds like someone wants you to sing a song. This guy, it's just,
Oh, sing the song?
No,
I couldn't. Oh, there's a little a kiddly divey to one of you. Oh, the words sound queer and funny to your ear, a little bit jumpy and jivey. Say, mares eat oats and does eat oats, and little lambs eat ivy. Oh, everyone! Mares eat oats and does eat oats, and little lambs eat ivy. Kiddly divey to one of you. All right. That wonderful song from King and I, getting to know you, getting to know all about you.
It's a piano, hold on.
Oh, there is.
I can't play. No.
Well,
I think it's all right.
Why did you bring that up?
It was a joke, and now I'm under pressure.
Yeah. And then, of course, Surrey with the fringe on top, with a body in the trunk of my car. Who could forget that one? And,
I do want to someday go golfing with you. I think that would be very reminiscent and terrifying. So your portrayal of grief as a grieving father in the show had a huge impact on me as a kid. It was the first moment I remember believing that this was actually happening. Of course, I was 9, but I watched that scene where Truman tells you your daughter's dead, and you were my favorite actor since then, because it's the first time I ever was like, not just watching a show, watching a movie. It actually felt real. And so,
the first time you were psychologically impaired.
Well,
was by me.
Oh, I was traumatized. Thanks.
Oh, see.
It told me so much. It says you're gonna have heartbreak, you're gonna have grief, and this is what it looks like.
Yeah, there it is. Yes.
But that's what also makes the world of David Lynch beautiful. And I think. When he cast you and we just had a normal conversation, I think you and I had talked one time about when Lynch casts people, or when he even directs on set, he's not so much of a, here's what, it's more.
Yeah, he doesn't read you, no.
It's just more of his.
In fact, when we had to get approval from ABC for all of our characters that he cast, and so you go in and read for you do a little scene for all the top executives at the network. And we didn't really feel like doing it, but we had to do it. So I was there that day with David and Richard Beamer, who played Ben Horn. Remember Tony from West Side Story, that actor? And so we went in to do the scene for the executives, but David put a little twist in it. He made Beamer read Leland Palmer, and I read Ben Horn. And we did audition scene for the ABC executives, and they bought it.
Was it the scene where Ben Horn just bites into the baguette and has to talk the whole time?
Was it that scene? I don't think it was that scene.
That was episode 3. So
yeah, episode 3.
But,
anyway, yes, that was the audition process for the ABC executives. Yeah.
That's awesome. And the feeling that when Lynch directs all of you on set is more of like I was told by several of his actors that it's just this feeling of family and love, that no matter what subject is happening, or no matter how dark, or there's like a peace.
Yeah, he kept everything very kind of low key, and we would actually, get up that morning and to go to work and feel happy about it. even though we were doing terrible things sometimes that day, you know. But we would always, you know, joke and relax in between takes, and had a fun time. I remember poor Cheryl Lee. She was playing Maddie, and that episode that she was killed. She was actually murdered by 3 different people that day. The day we shot it, and it was my character, Leland Palmer, and Ben Horn's character, and of course Bob, Frank Silva. She was killed by all 3 of them that day. Poor girl. She was pretty tired at the end of that 14-hour day. I remember they had to call in a massage therapist to help her out a little bit after it was over. And that particular scene was pretty violent, and it was difficult, a little difficult to come down from that adrenaline-wise, because you get hopped up, but then you have to stay in control, so you don't actually really ever hurt anybody. But every once in a while, you have a little accident. I remember a scene that I did where I'm holding my daughter's graduation photo, and the music is playing, and I started dancing around with it, and I started to weep again, you know, crybaby Leland, and then I smashed it. My wife comes in and she's trying to stop me, and I smashed that photo on the coffee table, and the glass cracks, and I got myself right here. Stars over, and I bled all over the photo, and my apocalypse now participated. And so every once in a while you have a little accident, and you kind of go with it. And David sort of encourages that to, you know, when you have an accident like that or a mistake, to try to make the most of it for film, for the camera.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when you were kind of brought the news that your time on the show would be ending, in terms of like who the killer was, or ABC kind of forced that on. We want an answer, and you know, the beauty of the show.
Yeah, ABC. At that time, back in 1990, ABC was, what was wrong? Somebody over there?
Nope, I
So they were going to the bathroom?
no, you're good. In 1990.
Oh, in 1990, ABC was owned and operated by a big organization called Capital Cities. And the head of Capital Cities was a fellow by the name of Burke. And he was not a big fan of Twin Peaks. In fact, I don't think he liked it at all. And so the higher-ups at ABC, you know, they weren't content to keep it on the air as long as it could be on the air. And they wanted to find some sort of resolution to the murder mystery of who killed Laura Palmer. So they kept pushing David and Mark Frost to come up with a killer. And I was the lucky guy. For a long time, I did not want it to be me. I did not want it to be me. Anybody else. Sheriff Truman would have been a good choice. Ben Horn, you know, Leo, the truck driver. Why couldn't it have been him? You know, it has to be me. I have to be the killer of my own daughter. That didn't sit well with me. You know, I just had a little baby girl of my own. She was only 2 years old at the time, and the whole idea of being the killer of my daughter on the show was anathema to me. In fact, I had moments at night thinking about it, like, am I going to do that last episode, that reveal episode? Should I quit? I actually entertained those thoughts. And so when David called me in for a meeting, just before we shot the reveal, where when Maddie is killed, and I look in the mirror and I become Bob and that sort of thing. He called me in for a meeting and at the studio, and it was in an empty room. There was no furniture in the room, and it was dark. There was a lava lamp in the corner of the room. This is a whole David Lynch kind of a setup. And in the room, sitting cross-legged on the floor, are David Lynch, Mark Frost, Cheryl Lee, and Richard Beamer, Ben Horn. And I'm the last one to sit down cross-legged on the floor. So I sit down. We're all in a nice little circle, like we're camping out. And David leans over, touches my knee, and he said, "Ray, it's you. It's always been you." I went, "Oh, no." I think I said shit, I'm sorry. But at that moment I said S-H-I-T. No. And he said, "Ray, I promise it's going to be a beautiful thing." Now that's one of David Lynch's favorite expressions, a beautiful thing. Whenever he wants to describe something that's going to happen in a scene, he describes it as, "It's going to be a beautiful thing, Ray." So he went on to explain to me that, yes, indeed, I would die in the arms of Cooper, Agent Cooper, and he would be reciting the Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I would be looking down a long, dark tunnel, and at the end of it, there would be a white light, and that night would be my daughter, Laura, with her arms out, forgiving me. And at that moment, he made it all seem okay, and I accepted it at that moment, and then of course we did the episode. It was directed by Tim Hunter, a very fine movie director of his own right, and for me it was one of the standout moments in the whole series, was dying in Cooper's arms with the sprinklers raining down in my face and up my nose and down my throat. And it's a very interesting thing to try and do your lines when you're kind of semi-drowning. But I got through it fine, and it's a very memorable scene, and when I watch it even today, it still it chokes me up. So that's that.
It's an amazing scene. Jumping back when Maddie died, did they shoot Ben Horn killing her too, just to keep like a secret?
Well, yeah, that's what I didn't I say that?
Well, no, I meant to jump back because you mentioned that Ben Horn killed her and you killed her and Bob killed her. And I was just wondering if that was because
no, what the mechanics of it, they shot all of it because David didn't want anybody to know, even the crew, who the real killer was.
That's awesome.
And so even the crew and the cameramen, all of they didn't know. It was one of the three of us, they knew that. But I wouldn't put money on me.
Well, that was before the internet. We had just people spoiling, a crew member going, "Oh, this is,
Yeah, that's another amazing thing. That was before the internet. What must have, if it were to happen today, I wonder what it would be like. I don't know. I know that, Twin Peaks at that time, it was pretty groundbreaking, and how it ever got on broadcast television, I don't know. On a major network, ABC, back then there was ABC, NBC, CBS, and not too many other networks. How it ever got on ABC to begin with is a mystery to me. But they allowed it to go on, and they gave David and Mark Frost free rein. That was part of David's deal, that you didn't try and step in and stop any kind of creative aspect that we might want to do. And so David had free rein, and it lasted for 30 episodes. Died a quick death. And, you know, we're still living on it today, a little bit, you know. I feel very grateful that I was able to participate in that show. And my only regret is I didn't have a bigger part in the third season. I figured, yeah. David called me up on the phone, and he says, "Ray, we're coming back. The town is still there." Wow, okay, we're coming back, and he's saying that I'm going to be in it. Well, I was barely in it. I had one line, and I said it backwards. and every, you know, a lot of the other people, and about 200 new characters. I mean, everybody was in it. Everybody wanted to be in it. I think everybody in Hollywood wanted to be in it, and a lot of them were, except for yours truly. I was in a little bit. I was in another episode where they showed a couple of little clips from Firewalk with Me. Yeah. One of the episodes. And I really thought that I would be in it more because we had done this Blu-ray version, and we did this little thing called Between Two Worlds, and they brought Leland back and across the table from David, and he asking questions of Leland and how it's been the last 25 years wherever he is. And so I thought, yeah, it would be between two worlds, the real world and the world like in the Red Room. And I had no idea that he was going to go to Las Vegas, or Jim Belushi. Anyway, I don't want to sound bitter, but yes, I was bitter. But I'm fine with it now, you know, and there's talk of a fourth season, right, isn't there?
Do not get me into this. David Lynch, I have said nothing.
I talked for over a year about a third season, and I think that they were almost going to throw lawyers at me to cease and desist, you know. And I know Mark didn't like it very much, and I'm not sure what David thought, but you know, David's he's a freewheeling spirit, and really anything goes with him, and he has no, you know, qualms about allowing us even to do something like this. Screening, he's all for it.
Yeah,
he feels that as long as you know, Twin Peaks is alive, that you know, and his work is out there, that he feels great about it. And so yeah.
So you get that phone call, Ray, season 4, don't talk. I heard some rumblings from Detroit that there's a season 4.
Here was my idea. Leland's twin brother, Leonard, comes to town to really find out why his brother died, and all of the machinations behind it. And Leonard looks remarkably like Leland. They're almost identical, except perhaps Leonard may have a mustache. Anyway, that was my big idea. That was my idea even for season 3, but David didn't go for it. And, you got Jim Belushi and stuff, but that's it.
I mean, you know, Dougie. That's a lot. Okay. So the movie, Firewalk with Me, when that came back around and the show had been canceled, I know everybody was pretty surprised. Like, how is this happening? What's going on? The idea of getting to kind of go back to revisit that character and actually, you know, portray the darkest of his moments, it had to be exciting. Just to be like, oh, I get to, you know, go really, you know, no ABC censors, no, you know, that performance is It's an Oscar.
Yeah, and you know, the original cut of this film was about 5 hours long. And some great stuff is cut out. Some great scenes that you would have loved to see, I think.
Can you teach me to talk Norwegian right now with the crowd? Do you remember?
Yeah, there was a big Norwegian scene, and a dinner table scene where lumberjack with an axe, and a whole bunch of stuff. Typical David Lynch stuff, and I guess it was too much for the distributor. They said you got to cut it out a little bit.
The 5-hour runtime would probably hurt the box office.
Yeah, they could have broken it up in 2 seconds. I think.
Well, nowadays they would.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
But the missing pieces, thankfully, finally got released. That took years.
A lot of missing pieces.
Yeah, because I know New Line, David was after the footage for quite a while. New Line had it, but it was never they weren't interested in spending the money to put it out as a special feature.
Right.
And so it just, thankfully, when I came along and CBS released the full set, that was incredible to see that. See that footage, after seeing this movie so many times, to revisit and see all of the stuff, all the performances he gave that were lost for all that time. That's crazy to kind of think, to remember that and not have access to it. But after Twin Peaks and after Firewalk with Me, you got to, Bob Roberts had an incredible cast, Rising Sun with Sean Connery, and just all of these,
I did Bob Roberts and Tim Robbins films. One of the first films he directed with Alan Rickman and a whole bunch of people, James Spader, Susan Sarandon, it was loaded with people, that film. And I did, Rising Sun with Sean Connery, Wesley Snipes, and Harvey Keitel. Very interesting, when I played Leland, David said he wanted my hair turned white after I killed Jacques Renault. And he sent me to a hairdresser. And I spent the whole day there while they turned my hair white using amazing amounts of chemicals. And my hair was turned white, and it remained that way for about 3 or 4 months. And I would have to go every 2 weeks to do my roots. And then my hair started to break off, and I think I died probably just at the right time to save my head of hair. And then when I did Rising Sun, Harvey Keitel had to have light blonde hair. He got a wig.
Not very method.
And I thought, why couldn't I have gotten a wig? And his wig looked great. It looked like his real hair. But they could have spent a few bucks and gotten a nice wig. And
before your first session of getting the chemicals applied, did David tell you it was going to be a beautiful thing?
Oh yeah. Your hair is going to be a beautiful thing, Ray. Yes. And God's always got to say to me, and I throw in with him 100%.
So working with the powerhouse actors that are in, Rising Sun, Bob Roberts, and all that led you to eventually the Oscar-nominated Good Night and Good Luck with George Clooney. You were amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
How was that experience? That was just a great year for that movie. All the awards and all that,
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Picture, the Academy Award, and the cinematographer, he actually won for his black and white cinematography. The last great black and white film, really.
Yeah.
Bob Roberts.
Good Night, Good Luck.
Good Night, Good Luck, yes.
Well, when you've done 287 movies, it's, hard to keep track. There's a reason I was looking on my cell phone.
That wasn't confusing. That was a great cast with Frank Langella and Jeff Daniels and Robert Downey Jr. and George, and David Stratford, who played it.
Yeah.
And I got to be the guy in the movie that dies. I've done that a lot. I've been killed in every conceivable way. I've been stabbed and shot and burned to death and drowned and poisoned and every which way. And Good Night, Good Luck, I turned on the gas and sat in my living room. passed away.
And now we're all depressed. So let's take it to some comedy here. So
Shouldn't we go to questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people might want to ask questions.
Yes, let's open it up to the audience.
Anybody have a question? Just stand up and shout it
And I
out.
believe Nick has a microphone. We'll come down to you.
Has David Lynch ever asked you or anyone else to tone it down?
To tone it down?
To reel it in?
No, that's an expression that was foreign to our vocabulary.
Yeah.
No, toning it down. No, that was not a prerequisite. No, in fact, everything that I did, I had a very fine example of in real life. I actually attended a funeral where somebody picked the body up out of the casket. And they were so moved by their loved one being gone that they didn't want them to go. And so I've seen people dance crazily, and in fact, everything that I did in Twin Peaks, I've actually seen people doing, and nobody ever told them to turn it down. Yeah.
Hi, Ray. Quick question.
Hi.
I wasn't going to ask this, but since you sang for us, has anyone ever asked you to howl like crazy, Leland?
Howl like crazy, Leland?
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. But that was my idea, by the way. That little scene where I'm being interrogated, and where I go, woo, 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 woo.
I hope somebody was recording that.
Yeah. But I guess I just did it, so.
And you just asked, so.
Anybody else?
Hi, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm back here. I'm Amanda, hello. My question is about season 3. So I want to say spoiler alert, but I think this crowd probably has seen it. I'm wondering, so of all the unexpected places season 3 went, the thing that I never anticipated and that I found so poignant was Lynch really rewriting himself, right? When Dale takes Laura out of the woods. And I guess, given you as Leland, I'm wondering how you felt about that.
Well, I've talked a little bit with Cheryl about that, and her coming back as another character, and then ending up at the Palmer house at the end with other people as tenants, and I don't know how I really feel about that. It's I don't even want to venture an opinion about it, really. It's one of those strange, mysterious things that David puts out there, and he wants you to find your own answer to. And whatever you decide it is, that's what it is. And so I don't want to shape it for you at all. I don't even want to venture a guess at what it might be, but I thought it was apt and kind of wonderful that season 3 ended at the Palmer house. And that house is really there, and the lady that owns it now. Yes. Yeah, she actually likes people to come and visit, and I think she has tours from time to time. Isn't she at the house? Yeah, what do you know?
She's going to call us tomorrow and be like, why are there hundreds of people?
Yeah.
Next question.
I didn't answer your question, I'm sorry. I don't really know how I feel about that. And I don't know. The whole season 3 is visually stunning. And that 8th episode is remarkable. I don't think that there's ever been anything like it, certainly on the television screen. quite possibly not on the movie screen either. So it was a very special thing. And 18 episodes of not much Leland Palmer.
I had a question about your hesitation to be the murderer. Once you found that out and you went forward and all in, then when they approached you for the movie, I mean, you had to do even more intensely violent. It was a very intense situation for that movie.
Yes, and I had to show real molestation of my own daughter. Yeah, the movie is Fire Walk with Me. It's actually it's Laura's nightmare, and her father is doing it to her. He's creating that nightmare for her, and so some of the nightmarish aspects of it, the actual molestation of Laura Palmer, they were pretty, they were extremely intense and uncomfortable, and not a whole lot of fun to do. But so whatever I had to do to get myself in the right frame of mind to be able to do a good job with it, I did. Sometimes I'd have to go off in a corner and stare into the corner and just try to psych myself into it. At other times I could be blithe and kind of nonchalant and jokey, and it just varied from scene to scene. But whatever I had to do to get ready for it, that's what I did. I don't know if that answers the question.
Next question.
Hello.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you had any idea what Garmonbozia might taste like.
What was the question?
If you have any idea what Garmonbozia might taste like.
It's like cream corn.
But is it cream corn?
I just said it's like cream corn.
Copy that.
You can actually see pieces of corn in it. But as for the other ingredients, I'm not quite sure.
Pain and sorrow.
Anyone else?
We really can't see.
Okay, sorry, I was not. So, hi, Ray.
Hi.
Over your long career in film and television, is there a certain moment or scene where you thought back being, yes, this is why I got into acting?
Yeah, I had quite a few of those moments doing Twin Peaks and Fire Walk with Me. I probably half dozen to maybe 10 moments that I thought, yeah, this is what it's all about, and this is why I'm doing it, and I really feel like I did the job this time. And I've had some of those moments, and I had some of those moments, one or two of those moments playing the devil on Rebirth, and I had one or two of those moments in Good Night and Good Luck. Every once in a while, you have those great moments where it all makes sense, and you really feel like an artist. And then, of course, you balance that against all the other moments. Where you do these projects that maybe don't turn out as great or so great, but you still give 100%. I've always believed in that, and no matter what it is I have to do, I've got to believe in it 100%, so that I can be convincing. And a lot of times it works out, and sometimes it doesn't. Like everything in life. I see. Why would you ask that? Oh, everything, sure. Oh, you mean maybe the third season is what you're talking about? Yeah. I've seen every episode of the third season too. Yes, I've seen all of Twin Peaks a few times. Oh, I know what you're talking about. After I'm dead on Twin Peaks, did I watch the remaining episodes? Oh yeah, with Wyndham Earle and all that. Yeah. Don't ask me to quote anything because I wouldn't be able to. Yeah, I watched a lot of it. Yeah.
My question, I'm over here. It's all good. Stand up. I'm curious what your passions, like your other passions, aside from acting are.
Oh, my other passions. Oh my.
If there is any.
Oh yeah. Well, aside from watching my two kids, I have a son and a daughter, and they're both in bands. My daughter's a singer in this band out of San Francisco called The Go Ahead, and I'd love to go to her performance. Just went to one 2 nights ago. My son is also in a band, and he's also a Wing Chun Kung Fu Sifu. He's a master at Wing Chun Kung Fu, and so I don't mess with my son anymore. He's 34 years old. My daughter's 32, and I love watching both their careers. My son's also in a band, a Latin jazz fusion band. He plays keyboards, and they're both pretty good musicians, and I love watching their careers go forward. And I like to plant tomato plants in the backyard. My backyard out in California, I've got an orange tree, a lemon tree, a lime tree, an avocado tree, a couple of peach trees, and a lot of tomato plants and pepper plants. I like to grow hot peppers. I like hot food. So, Thai food, Indian food, and the hottest curries I love. There's something about burning the inside of my mouth that I like. I don't know why exactly. But I'm thrilled with it. My son feels the same way. He wins hot food eating contests back in Los Angeles. He goes to these restaurants and he's able to eat tremendous amounts of really hot food. And I love, going out in the backyard, and I go out in the backyard with a little salt shaker in my pocket and pick tomatoes and eat them right off the vine, and pick an orange and peel it and eat it. I'm in heaven in my own backyard, and I don't really need to go to any place else.
You ever get animals coming back there and just eating all your trees?
Animals?
Animals?
Yeah,
Bears?
skunks, raccoons, bobcats. Every once in a while, a bobcat along the top of my fence. Yeah. And coyotes, of course, they're a given in California. And so a lot of wild animal life, owls and red-tailed hawks and California golden eagles. I've seen them all. I have a couple of 100-foot California redwood trees in my front yard. And one day there was a California golden eagle sitting on the very top of it. It was an amazing sight. Yeah, so I appreciate nature and love to sit out in it. And as you can see, I get plenty of sun. And I'm also part Native American, so when I do get the sun, it turns red first, and then it kind of looks tannish. In fact, my son, he said he was 5 years old before he discovered that I wasn't Hispanic. I was. in his early years because of my George Hamilton tan. But I love the sun. I like to get plenty of vitamin D. I don't burn, and so far my skin has held up pretty well. So I'll probably worship the sun for the rest of my life.
Any more questions?
Hi. I've got a question about season 3 as well. Season 3 of Reaper. Still holding out hope.
Wow. Season 3 of Reaper? It never happened. Wow, you know what? When it was canceled by the CW network, it was because our ratings were good. It was kind of a contest between the head of the network that time, Dawn Ostroff, the lady, and the producers of our show. I guess we didn't have enough gossip girls on the show. That was the thing. It was just like 4 guys having fun, playing around in hell, and there was a season 3. It was all mapped out and plotted and partially written, and we were going to go down into the nether regions, and we were going to see where I kept my trophy case and down in hell. We took a very humorous approach to all things devil. And, I envisioned the devil as somewhere between a talk show host and a very good used car salesman. A guy who always has a smile on his face and has a real talent of making you feel good about yourself so that he can get what he wants out of you. That's what a good confidence man does. It gives you confidence in yourself and makes you feel a little bit special so that he can get what he wants out of you. So keep that in mind the next time you go to buy a car.
Anybody else?
Hi. Thank you for coming to Detroit in November.
Hey, my pleasure.
Come back in August, we'll show you downtown.
My pleasure.
I want to thank you for your body of work, and we will be looking up at episodes of Charlie's Angels.
Well, thanks.
But I just wanted to ask you a question about Far Walk with Me. It's wonderful to see it on the big screen. I saw it 3 years ago at the DIA. It was amazing. Because you can see the facial expressions so explicitly. And I was really, again, stunned by Cheryl Lee's performance as she flips back and forth between good Laura and bad Laura. You can just see it in the scene shift over so gracefully. And the same with Leland's character as he flips between Leland Dad and Bob Leland. And my question is, did you, was that specific? Did David Lynch instruct you on how to do that, or did you work with Frank Silva? Did you channel Bob? What was the exact mechanics of that?
That's very interesting, Greg. I never ever thought about Bob. I always just had Leland in my head. Even when I was doing Bob things, it was still Leland doing Bob in my head, even though my character was unaware of Bob and didn't become aware of him until he was dying with the water coming down on him. And then he saw what he had done as Bob, and it was overwhelming. But I always just thought as Leland, Bob never entered into the equation for me. And so when I switched from good Leland to bad Leland, that's exactly what it was, good Leland, bad Leland. Not about Bob. I was more, I guess, more of a schizo, than any kind of evil spirit possessing me. Although that may indeed be what happened. I may have been possessed by Bob. Whichever way you want to think of it is the way But I always just kept Leland in my head. And so it made those transitions actually easier for me to make because almost within the same sentence I would go from good to bad. And it made it easy because I wasn't trying to be like Frank, you know. So.
This is actually related. In Twin Peaks, there is so much like excess emotion and drama. Did you portray those extreme feelings carry over with you after shooting?
Did all that carry over with me?
Like having to be in the mindset of
right,
that.
yeah.
Does that carry on like after?
Yeah. Well, you know, fortunately, by the time Twin Peaks came along in my career, I'd done a lot of stuff, and I developed a lot of techniques to be able to do those intense, sometimes unpleasant things, and then getting rid of them right away afterward, and going home to my family and being a regular person. And the interesting fact is, we shot most of Twin Peaks right there in the San Fernando Valley. Right there in, almost in Chatsworth, off Balboa Boulevard, in the middle of San Fernando Valley, in a place called City Studios, where they built the Great Northern and all the other sets. So the majority of the series was shot right there in Southern California. And when we had to do the scenes like the Surrey with the fringe on top scene where I take the club out of the golf bag and you think I want to hit Cooper with it, and that's all around Lake Hollywood. Lake Hollywood, it's not the Northwest at all. And I would do these terrible things, and then, you know, get in my car and drive like about 12, 13 miles, and I'd be home. Sometime time for dinner. You know, how are the kids the day at school? That kind of thing. And so I was able to keep a very kind of a normal level existence as well through all that wild stuff.
On the set, during those dark scenes, did people keep it light? Was there a way to kind of shift that? I mean, was it sort of fun with this?
Light in between the takes, yeah. We made a conscious effort to do that, and we all got along extremely well. I've never, before or since, been with a cast that got along so well. We really liked each other, and once we had done the pilot, you know, we had a whole slew of different directors come to do the episodes, and but it was, you know, it was unnecessary for them really to tell us what to do. We were in a groove, and we knew the way it had to be done, and we knew what we were doing. And right after that pilot, we were locked in. So yeah.
Cool. Well, does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah. When you started singing in the show, was it your idea for the songs, or were the songs already determined on?
Not my idea for the songs. No, they came up with the Broadway musical songs. I remember I had to sing that one. Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You know, I tried to do the Judy Garland version. Not as well as Judy, of course. And I remember that was the most difficult one for me to master. If indeed I did master any of them. But I certainly enjoyed them. But I had no say into what songs I sang. Or anything else I did in that show. I had absolutely no say in it. But when it came time to do it, I had a lot of say.
I remember how sad, like when you came into the Great Northern and you started dancing and crying, and like, you know, when I was younger watching it, I was like, I felt so sympathy, and so just sad situation. And the older I get when I watch it, and then more it's just like, somebody dance with it. It kind of becomes this comic book, like, oh,
Yeah,
this guy.
I did a little Fred Astaire thing.
Yeah.
I tip over the chair and then I dance with the cane. And that's actually one of my favorite moments in the whole show. When I have my back to Cooper and he's talking to me, and I go right from, he thinks I'm crying, and I'm not really. I'm giggling, very hysterical. That's my favorite moment in the whole show. I'm really proud of myself for doing it that way.
It's like when Leland hears just a music cue.
Yeah, that's
it's like the beat drops.
I hit it right there. I hit exactly what I wanted. It's a whole character to be. Yeah.
Cool. Any more questions before we?
Yeah, got one right here. Just want to say before my question, you and Cheryl are often overlooked in the conversation of best performances ever, and I just want you to know it isn't lost upon all of us. You guys are magnificent.
She could have easily been nominated for an Academy Award for that. I mean, she ran the whole gamut. I mean, there was nothing she did not do in playing that part. And she was a trooper, man. She had some rough days and nights, and she got through it beautifully.
You're both excellent in it.
Thank you.
My quick question is, when working with like Tim and Eric, or I guess anybody for that matter, have they ever asked you to do anything where you were hesitant or said absolutely not? Thank you.
I guess when they asked me to be nude. He wants to know. No, this is years ago now, when asking me to be nude actually meant something. Now, nobody asks me to be nude. Anyway, have there been things? You know, I did that $1 million movie for Tim and Eric, and I played this strange character who had this process called shrimp. Do you know what I'm talking about? And all these young boys come around and go. It's disgusting. Try to describe it. All these young boys sort of sit over a bathtub and they all have diarrheal moments and fill the tub. And then, of course, the whole idea behind shrimp is to immerse yourself in the tub. And it's supposed to be very therapeutic. Tim and Eric, I don't know what goes on in their heads. And I certainly, I agreed to do it before I'd even seen the actual pages. And boy, I wish I'd seen the actual pages. But I did it 100%. I did not, it was awful. But I did it.
But working with him, one of my favorite bands is Beach House. That music video for Wishes is
Beach House.
incredible. In fact, the crowd saw it before.
That great horse. I love that horse. He was a great horse. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that horse was transported to Southern California. I think it was in the movie Gladiator, that horse. Yeah, I think so. But I could be wrong. But this horse had a lot of experience. And so having me on his back didn't throw him for an instant. And I was holding onto his mane for dear life, I remember. But here's the thing, Eric Warman directed that video, and And he said, you want to do a music video for Beach House? And I said, yeah, but you know, it's Victoria LeGrand. What do you want me to do? He said, well, I want you to sing her song. I said, you want me to sing her song? He said, well, no, you're not really going to sing it. You're going to be mouthing her voice. And I thought, you want me to lip sync Beach House Wishes? Yeah. And that was the concept. And I did it, and there were fireworks, and it was
and that wonderful tracksuit.
Incredible night it was, crazy stuff. And I thought, wow, this can't possibly come out right. And he put it together, and I guess it was like video of the week when it came out. And, Entertainment Weekly loved it and all that. So I'm no judge ever of anything that I participate in. Even I can judge things that I observe, but anything that I participate in, I can't tell you ever if it's going to be really successful or not. So don't look to me, and don't blame me too much for anything that you might not like about what I did.
And you did not get to keep the suit from the Beach House with you.
I love those golden big pants. I love those pants, and foolishly I did not ask to keep them, or else I'd probably have them on right now.
He just stands up. All right. Well, is everybody ready to come meet Ray in the back there? Good? I do want to say, so what we're going to do is we're going to form an organized line, so you're going to come out this way and line up, and we'll be at the table momentarily. Ray, I do want to thank you so much for your talent and your time with us, and thank you.
I want to thank all of you for persevering through all this. And I hope you enjoyed the morning, and what better thing to do in Michigan on a Saturday morning?
Ray Wise, everybody.